Okay, this is another brief informational tutorial type thing, learning module about Adobe Animate and ActionScript. And what we're going to learn a little bit more about today is how to manipulate the size of our document and also how to program objects with our object properties. So let's get started and let's begin with an ActionScript 3.0 to build with. And so what I'm going to do is just look at ways to do this. You don't have to actually follow along. You're going to be answering questions along the way here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the properties of my document. Notice I've got nothing selected, so it says document here for properties. And I'm going to change the size of my document to be something iPhone shaped. So I'm going to go 375 by 667. And I move between those two fields with the tab key on the keyboard. And that makes it the size I want. So I can also choose the zoom thing here and choose fit in window. And that looks kind of iPhone shaped. So good. And now what I need to do is bring in some stuff because my library is empty. So what I'm going to do is find a file that I'm going to have you guys download or that you'll be working with today, and we'll be looking at how to place the objects in our document. So you're going to download for this assignment an object a file called Object Properties 02 Start. And if I drop that in there, it's going to say, hey, you're dropping some stuff in there. And we're going to want to make symbols out of these things and then delete them from the stage. So we're going to go ahead and accept all these things, put them original position, doesn't matter. You definitely want to put them on one single animate layer. There's no need to make layers that we're not going to use later, so we're just going to put them on one place. Import. And here's all the stuff. Now it looks like it actually might be cool, but that's not where the things are supposed to go. This object here is going to be the sky. So I'm going to F8. And to name these things, I'm going to go through like two of these and then bounce forward to the rest of the demonstration. But I want to call this thing sky. I want to use a capital letter, and then I'm going to export for ActionScript and make sure the sky is here. If you don't see the section down here, which you probably don't, click the Advanced tab thing and export for ActionScript. It'll automatically check this one. It'll automatically name this whatever you put in here. So make sure this is capitalized. Make sure it's a move clip symbol. And I recommend registering the sky at the top left because that's going to be 0, 0. It'll automatically get placed where you want it that way. So I'm going to click OK. It says this. So let's just do another one. Once I've got that thing symbolized and visible in my library, delete it. All right, here's the ground. Now the ground, similarly, I'm going to push F8. I'm going to call this ground or GRND or floor or whatever you want. Floor is kind of good. And I'm going to put this one bottom left. Now I'm bottom lefting the registration on this one because it's going to sit in the bottom. It's less programming to place it that way than it would be otherwise. So export for ActionScript. So all these placements of the registrations are designed to make less lines of code to have to write. So get this one. This is like a canyon wall. So I'm going to F8 this one or modify convert to symbol. I'm going to call this wall capitalized, bottom left, export for ActionScript, and OK. All right, let's see this one. This one is a tree. This is a scoreboard. And that's going to go top left also. F8. Score. I'm going to call it score display. Top left. Export. OK. So now that's going to get deleted. OK. Now these other pieces in here, this is actually more of a title here that you can add in there. So I'm going to go ahead and symbolize that one. And so where you place the registration point of each object is going to be dependent upon how you're going to want to position it on the screen. So we'll see how these should go as you move along. You're going to create a composition using code. Okay, so now that you have placed all the objects in the library, you've got a lot of stuff to work on. We're now going to open up the window menu and choose actions, or F9 is a good quickie on that one. So now I've got my code window ready to rock. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a couple of variables. So I'm going to write in some. And one good thing to do is always frame out your ideas in comments first. So my first comment is going to be create screen vars, and another one is going to be create instance vars, variables, right? Shortening it out. Then we're going to place and position objects. That's pretty much what we're doing on this exercise today. So I think that's pretty much right. So I gotta go, okay, let's create the screen vars. So var, I'm going to choose SW equals stage width. And when I write this, capital letters are important. And when I write it, I don't have to, but if it's in there, when it's done, it tells me, yeah, that's right. And so I'm going to do the same thing for var SSH equals stage height, semicolon, ends with a semicolon. Notice I'm also going to paragraph out my stuff. So my code should be sort of separated by content or topic or idea or sections. So you want to think about what is this little batch of code saying and does it fit together? So the next thing I'm going to do is make my instances. So this, I'm going to do a couple of them slowly to explain how they go. And then I'm going to just fast forward through them. So I've got sky equals new sky. And again, this needs to be capitalized because I'm talking here and here about the instance name, the linkage name. And this one's lowercase, so they're different things. So I've got sky. And I'm going to go ahead and make, oops, I got an extra piece of punctuation in there. There we go. Oop, wrong. There we go. And variable wall, oops, should be lowercase, wall equals new wall. And end with semicolon. Variable, I'm just going to go through the list. Cloud 1, cloud. I got this. There we go. So that's the essential syntax that you should have for each and every object that's in your library that you're going to use. So let's bounce through the rest of these kind of questions. So the next piece of the puzzle is we're going to start adding stuff and putting them in place. Now, so far, it's really important that you do your instance vars first, or this part won't know what it's talking about. So all these things are sort of precursors to what we're doing down here. So this will be, we're going to say add child, and I am eternally lazy when I write code, so I like to double click this. If you double click, if you didn't know this, I could select it this way, but much quicker is double click. Copy, and so now I'm not add child, so it's going to save me a bunch of keystrokes. So I'm going to start adding in the sky, and it's going to build up from the back forward. So I'm going to do the sky first, lowercase, and I should check and see if that works. So control enter, and my sky works because my sky was placed with the registration point at top left. So it goes automatically where I want it to go. That's good. Save me some work. In fact, I don't have to do anything else with that one. So the next thing I'm going to add in there is going to be, let's add in the clouds. So add child. Oh, I wrote that out and I didn't have to. Cloud 1. I can paste and do cloud 2. And now I'm going to position those two items. So let's see, cloud 1 dot x. And what I'm building up to is eventually I want to show you other ways that you can position and size things. So cloud1.x might equal stage width divided by 4, and cloud1.y might equal stage height. And I use this shorthand to make it fractional on my stage. So divided by 5 You don't have to use these numbers. Place them wherever you want. Now the interesting part, I'm just going to skip forward a few places, is I'm going to do the wall. So if I add child wall, paste, wall. I should check my work once in a while though. So hit Control Enter, and if you get errors, then you realize that you've made a mistake somewhere. And you don't want to write a whole bunch of code and then suddenly realize that you made a mistake somewhere and you're not sure where. So if you test frequently, you'll have less of those problems. So if I add child wall, let's see, where did that go? I don't see my wall, do you? So wall has a registration point at bottom left, which is going to the top of the screen. So all I'm going to worry about right now is if I choose add child, nope, not add child, sorry, wall dot y, and I'm going to equal that to stage.stage height. So you can see why that makes it a lot easier, right? Now what I really need to put in before this, if I'm not careful, is I got to think about the floor. So if I say add child floor, and then I say, just paste that, where's my floor? Well, the floor also has a lower left, and that lower left registration means it's one less line of code. So the floor is going to be dot y equals SSH, stage.stage height. So now I can see that my floor is in front of that wall. So all I have to do to change the stacking order is take this and move it before my wall. I'm going to try to separate those out because it's easier for me if I can see my code and read it easier. So now, having repositioned that, I got this. Now I do want to have that wall sort of off to the left. I'm going to open this up, and I want to just position this relative to the registration point just a little bit left. That way, when I open it, it's going to be, instead of looking like it's got holes at the back, it's actually looking like it's coming in perspective-wise from the back. Okay, let's go back into my code, back into scene 1 where the code is, and what I want to do is build two walls. So I actually have to take, let's see, I think I can take the same wall twice. So I'm going to add child wall again. I can copy this and paste it. And now I've got two walls, but they're in the same place, in the same spot. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take here's the big learn for today. So if I take wall dot scale x, and I say -1, let's just reverse that. It flips my copy. Now here's the problem. So these are both the same wall. It's not going to work. So you have to have, each instance has to be its own piece. You can't move the same one twice. So I added it once and I added it twice. So this bunch of code here overwrites this. It outdoes it. So what we'll do instead is we're going to make another wall. So let's call this one left wall, or wall left, I think. There we go. And now I'm going to take this line of code, copy it, and paste it. So now I've got wall left and wall right. So now down here where I've got wall, this one's going to be wall left. This one's going to be wall right. Check it. Now I've got an issue, right? Undefined property wall. So someplace, there we go, have to make sure that all my terms match. That's the left, this is the right, and this is the right. So now, one of them is flipped. You can't see the flipped one because it flipped and it's actually off screen. So I need to take the x value of that one and position it at the right. So wall right dot x is going to equal SSW. So you sort of have to think through the logic. Where do I want this to go? Where's its registration point? And how does it wind up looking? So there's the rest. So those two are the toughest pieces, is these left and right pieces. What I want you to do is figure out where in this order your other things should go so that you have two clouds, one mountain, score display, the title, the tree, all these things in place. And you sort of have to think through the math and the positioning of all those pieces to get them to work the way you want them to. So that's today's tutorial, your lab for the day in ActionScript. This is called Object Properties 2. And there you go. Rock on with it.